welcome. I appreciate the fact that you're spending time with your own personal development today. As you'll see as we walk through some of this, that's very near and dear to us at Sandler. On a personal note, that's very near and dear to me. It is my passion to see people grow and to see people developed in profound ways. I have spent many years learning from and coaching and some might say mentoring young professionals. I've done that through a few different venues, sometime in business doing those things. I was in the technology space for many years, and so it didn't take me very long, Megan, to learn that there was some incredible talent that was coming up right out of high school and right out of college, and could really have an aptitude for the technology ideas that we taught and serviced with. Obviously, in the Marine Corps, that time, the majority, most people don't realize the average age of folks in the military is definitely in that young professional age bracket. Megan, I don't know where that bracket cuts off, but you might know that answer.
Our demographic is generally right out of college, anywhere from 21 to around 40. We don't really have a hard and fast line, but that's
makes sense. Your American military largely falls in those categories. And so I spent quite a bit of time working with people of that age. And then if I go all the way back to my first teaching experiences, it was actually when I was in high school and I taught martial arts to kids. And so I've always had a passion for teaching and seeing young people grow. There's a lot of energy there. And I think we need to focus and empower that in every way we can. So when the opportunity came up to share with you today, I jumped on it. I'm going to cover with you, there's so many different topics that we could cover that I think would be impactful. But I'm going to cover with all of us today, and I'm going to learn as I teach you, and hopefully you will learn as well. I'm going to cover some ideas and some theories surrounded around I've got many different books I could have chose from, but it's surrounded around this book called Motivational Management. Mike Crandall, who wrote this book, is a colleague of mine. I've spent time with him. He and I've talked in great detail about this book, and I'm excited, Austin, after I finish this, I'll shoot Mike a copy of it and say, look what you helped me do. He lives in another state, but does great work. He is his firm largely focuses on management, leadership development, and we do a lot of management, leadership development as well out of our office. I think we had almost 40 people on a session yesterday afternoon with leadership and management and development. So let's kind of jump in. Our time is fairly limited. I'll do my best to stay prompt. Austin, if you can, or Megan, if you can give me about a 5-minute warning, that would be great. If you can't, I've got a clock in front of me. I'll do my best to watch the time and be very courteous to everyone in the process. So M&Ms, right? Don't we all love them? Don't we all love them? I brought my jar in off the bar here. If I don't know, everybody can't see me, but you should be able to hear that, right? Okay. I love these things. So if it's possible, Austin, and you guys just tell me if it's not, in the question and answer, could my first question be so silly as to say plain or peanut? Okay. Plain or peanut? Is that possible, Austin, for people to chime in with that question? There's Casey, I see. Or maybe it's just a panelist. Look at you. Look at Casey. She's got
fudge
it
brownie, and this is a game changer. Just tell me.
So also we don't have to do the question and answer, but we can if you would like. If y'all want to chime in, plain peanut fudge brownie, as Casey said. I don't even know how many.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. I was going to say, I don't know how many types there are. There's peanut butter. There's plain. There's this new fudge brownie, right? Is it Casey, I think, that said that?
Fudge brownie. Another said pretzel.
Yeah, I forgot about pretzel, So
Mint or
And-
caramel.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Mint or caramel. Or
See,
caramel,
you
depending
know,
on
it's
how you want
blowing my mind with all these M&Ms, and y'all know them better than I do, it sounds like. So we got lots of different types of, and Austin, continue just to chime in if you see some other comments there. But we got lots of different types of M&Ms, you know, and so this motivational management thing, I just couldn't resist, Megan. I had to do it. I had to go there. I had to, you know, make it about one of my favorites. You know, I remember when I was managing a territory, Austin, as a young man. I had, one of my vices was peanut M&Ms and Mountain Dews. You know, they just kind of got me. I started at 4 in the morning and quit about 3 every day. It got me through the day. But I want us to talk about motivation. I want us to talk about how we become motivated, how we measure that. Obviously, in our short time, I don't have time to cover all the ideas associated with motivation. But just like attitude, you know, in the Sandler world, we teach what we call the success triangle. And Austin, I know, has heard about some of this before, but it's really built around attitude, behavior, technique, or behavior, attitude, technique. And so if you're talking about attitude, then you're really talking about that measure at which most people will succeed or not succeed. Attitude is the primary driver. If we dive down deeper into the idea of attitude, then we're really going to start talking about motivation. And with this book, when Mike wrote this book, he largely wrote it to take a deeper dive down into what causes some people to agree, to compel, to perform, to exceed in an organization. And then likewise, there can be people who don't seem to excel and don't seem to fit. And I know our last speaker was talking to us about, you know, job changes and preparing for those things and how we prepare ourselves. So as it relates to motivation, it's a deep-seated thing. And so we're going to try to take a dive, and I'm going to do my best to share with you 5 particular truths that will help you to begin to find your own M&Ms, to find your own motivational measuring devices, to be able to tell, okay, where am I and how do I best find the right place to be suited, or how do I best maximize my energies and efforts within the organization that I work. So to do that, we're gonna cover a couple things that are just kind of basic but are extremely impactful. This next slide that you're seeing here, this site alignment and site picture, I'm sorry, I spent years in the Marine Corps. I can't help but use some of that training as I teach others. One of the things that I love to shoot is a bow and arrow, Austin. It is quite a challenge to shoot. And I could tell stories about shooting a bow and arrow. Many people ask me, Megan, well, do you hunt with your bow and arrow? And I say, no, I don't hunt with my bow and arrow. I just get a thrill out of pulling it back and actually hitting the target where I want to hit the target, right? So that's enough for me, because that's the challenge that I put upon myself. And what I've learned over many years of studying archery and trying to become more and more proficient, even as I and my bow and my arrows and the technology. See, not much in business, and unfortunately, not a lot of things in business life are static. Things are always changing. M&Ms, Austin, you know, it used to just be plain and peanut, right? But they've had to change it. They've had to adjust. And so as we look at this, I want us to, I hope my goal today is to expose some awareness for you on some things about yourself, irregardless of your ideas or where you come from or all the things that seem to make us different. I hope that as we talk through this, you will become aware of some things that are common to man. common to most women, most boys, most girls, most old guys like me. They're common. I hope that in sharing this knowledge with you, that it will be something that you can take with you and you can apply those nuggets. You know, Megan, one of the things I love about M&Ms is you don't eat them all at once, right? And, you know, their whole marketing thing, Austin, is really, it's really just wrong. They do melt in your hand, okay? They really do. But even that they've made work. So with M&Ms, you take one bite and maybe a couple, and then you take another. But if you do it right, that package, like Casey showed us earlier, Casey, I don't know how long you've had that package, maybe 3 minutes, but maybe 3 hours. You can stretch them out. And so I hope that we'll get little bites of knowledge today, some practical things that we can sink our teeth into, and it'll be rich. I haven't tried the fudge brownie M&Ms yet, but my daughter and wife have, and they say they're very rich. So I hope that we get some awareness on some things that can help us, that we're all similar in some ways. I hope that we gain some knowledge, that we can then begin to take small bites and applicate those things until ultimately we can take ownership of some of the truths and move toward a more masterful level. Many years ago, my brother, Austin, was always a much better marksman than I, even though I taught marksmanship in the Marine Corps. But he never shot a bow and arrow. So many years ago, we were out back of my place, and I handed him my bow and I handed him my arrow, and he pulled it back and he totally missed the target. And I said, "How can that be?" He said, "Oh, I thought I was shooting a different type of weapon, and I was shooting with both eyes open." I said, "Well, close one eye and shoot it." So he closed one eye and he looked down the sight and he hit it dead center. Okay. So we want to look for ways to master some of the things that we'll be talking about today. So that's the introduction. Austin, any more questions or any other comments that came in so far?
No, we're just talking about how M&Ms, you know, not lasting very long, and Casey, for example, has had it for about an hour and the bag's almost gone. So we've talked about how they don't last very long. I'm curious about this percentage rate of hitting the bullseye. I don't know if I need you on my team if you know, the apocalypse were to happen or something, but
well, you know, we can get, if you get, I won't go far with this, but if you get proper sight alignment, remember, I was a marksmanship instructor.
yeah,
When you get proper sight alignment and you get proper sight picture, okay? So proper sight alignment means my body, who I am and where I am, and we can make that much broader than just our physical body. But our mind, body, and spirit, okay, we teach that about those things all the time. My mind, body, and spirit are in the right places. You get your mind in the wrong place and try to be productive, right, Megan? For me, that's difficult. My wife hears me say often, "Okay, I got to go get my head ready for this particular presentation," right? So with sight alignment and sight picture, it's getting your mind, body, and spirit in the right places. I do believe that spirit is extremely important in that, and you can talk to me offline about my personal views with that, but there is a spirit man and woman within us. So mind, body, and spirit. So if I get my mind right, I get my body right, I get my spirit right, and then I focus on the right things at the right times, I can trust to let it fly. And that's the beauty of it. It's a systematic process that works. That's largely my approach to business. That's largely my approach to training. If I can get your mind, your body, and your spirit right, teach you the right techniques, you can excel. And in this, we'll find some of those techniques.
well, thank you.
Other comments, Austin?
I was going to say no more comments, and we're at the halfway mark, so about 20 minutes.
Very good. Well, we'll motor, and I'll give you some tips here. I say often when we teach, I'm just trying to drop nuggets in your life. Okay, so I hope you can pick up some nuggets from these next few images you see. Feel free to take a picture or take some notes. And also feel free to follow up with me if you have questions. A couple things to consider, okay? Amidst the noise, all the noise, what does motivation even mean? You know, the pastor of my church uses that question all the time. What does this even mean? I think if we could ask that question more often, we could all be more studious and more detailed and hit the target more often. What does this even mean to do these things? The reason, so if we look at that definition of motivation and what it means, you'll find many different definitions. But the standard definition, if you Google it, you're going to find is it's the reason one has for acting or being in a particular way, okay? Motivation is that primary thing that causes you to act or to be in a particular way. In my personal beliefs, I think we have a lot more control than we think. I think if we tap into the motivation properly, then the driver behind acting or being can be impacted greatly. In Mike's book, and Mike Crandall's book here, he defines motivation as identifying and leveraging, keyword leveraging, incentives that are meaningful to a particular individual. So as it relates to motivation, the primary two ways that people are motivated is generally going to be with either carrots or sticks, right? That's the normal way that people are motivated, either with carrots, so here's something sweet in front of you that you're trying to attain, or sticks behind you with somebody pushing and prodding. You know that old saying, don't kick against the goads. I don't know if y'all have ever heard that saying. Well, what that's saying is sometimes we might go against what might be best for us. So we need to consider, is motivation just about carrots or sticks, these outward things, or is it more about those general desires and what we're willing to do and the motive and the motivation? You know, one of my favorite all-time quotes is by Sir Francis Bacon, and many others have used this quote. I've been using this quote, Austin, for 30 years. That's a long time. One half of wisdom is a prudent question. You may also find it, a prudent question is one half of wisdom. If we will begin to ask questions, we will begin to learn, and we will begin to grow past just the surface level to the deeper, more intrinsic areas of our life, our mind, our body, our spirit, our performance. It largely gets circled up around the ideas of, are we willing to ask the hard questions? Other related things that come up when you're talking about motivation is ambition. People commonly talk about ambition. I am a certified extended disc counselor, if you will, or trainer or coach. So I've spent more hours than I would care to share studying to become certified to be able to teach and train at their highest level. Well, in those type DISC and divine and other type personality and behavioral assessments that we use often, we help people to tap in to consider, what is your ambition and what is your enthusiasm level and how determined are you and what's your drive, because those things are all very important. So when we talk about motivation, we're talking about a lot more than carrots and sticks. We're talking about a lot more than the external motivators. We're talking about the internal motivators when motivation is done at its best. So in thinking about this, one of the quotes that came out of this book that's just a beautiful quote to consider is, you know, many things we realize are simple. You know, breaking rocks may be simple, but it's far from easy, because hammering is hard work. You know, you get blisters on your hand when you start hammering. There's lots of things in life that we think are simple, but we got to hammer down into what are these intrinsic motivators that really push us forward. Carrots and sticks, as I said, they don't work for very long. They do work, by the way. Carrots and sticks and the things that people try to do and you try to do for yourself that will motivate you, goals are great and we should have them. But those external things are only going to take you so far in your career as a young professional. It's more about what happens here, Austin, you know this for sure, than what happens out here. As it relates to business development and growth and leadership and management, even in a pandemic, I truly believe it's more about what's happening here with my mindset than what's happening out here in the world necessarily. So carrots and sticks, they only work for so long. Other things to consider as we talk about motivation. Man, I don't have time to spend a lot of time here, but boy, is this right on topic for today? Considering our angers and our hates and even our prejudices, they create so much of that intrinsic peace that flows out of us and motivates us to be or to have or to do. So mindset of limitation or mindset of possibility, which will we choose? Quickly, average human in a day. If you're average, you have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, Austin. If you're normal. Now, I think sometimes I'm not normal. I have more than that, Megan. But 60 to 80,000 thoughts you have in a day. Of the 60 to 80,000 thoughts, if we divide that by 16 waking hours, that's about almost 3,500 thoughts an hour that Austin and Megan and Wade and all of us have. Check this out. I hate this, but it's true. Of those 3,300 to 3,400 thoughts per hour that Austin, Megan, and Wade have, 80% of those are negative. Psychology teaches us that 80% of those 3,300 to 3,400 thoughts that you may have an hour are negative. So we must fight that mindset of limitation if we're going to allow the motivation to flow out of our life to be that professional and to be that difference maker. Fear versus faith comes into play here. Fear will cause you to freeze or to fight or to flee instead of taking a step and taking another step and believing that the steps that you're taking are taking you in the right direction. All right, so let's get to the heart of this. What are those 5 key motivational measuring devices, those arrows, Austin? I've got lots of arrows downstairs. Some of them have heads on them. Some are just waiting to be used. Some have been used so many times that they're just not much good to use anymore, but I'm sentimental, so I keep them. So what are these arrows that's going to help us find our flavor, right? Find the things that really help us take it to the next level in our career. As you consider what motivates you, here's the exercise. Consider what it is that you like to do, okay? If you want to grow in your career and you want to maximize you, as you consider your days and how you spend it, consider what you are motivated to do. In considering what you are motivated to do, you will find deeper levels of who you are. Consider what you are motivated, Austin, to be. If you consider what you're motivated to be, again, all right out of this book, okay? Consider what you're motivated to do, Megan, and then consider what you're motivated to be. And I know I got others on, I'm not speaking to you, but I don't see your names in front of me, so I'm sorry. Consider what you are motivated to have. If Wade considers what I am motivated to have, I'm getting to that deeper level of my M&Ms. I'm finding my flavors. What is it that I'm motivated to do? I mean, it's really a pretty easy exercise to just, and if we had time to do a workshop, we would do that, but to just ask yourself. So I encourage you, do this later. You can do this in your quiet time, or you can do it in a busy place. There's only 5. What is it that I'm motivated to do? What is it that I'm motivated to be? what is it that I'm motivated to have and to accomplish? Now, I believe that people are deep enough, they're rich enough, Austin, that to accomplish is not the same as to have. There's some intrinsic things in life that I want to accomplish that have nothing to do with what I have. Is that fair? So consider, as you consider what motivates you, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to be? What is it that you want to have? And what is it that you want to accomplish? In so doing, you will grow. And then lastly, good thought. What is it that I want to be known for? When I'm not here anymore, what is it that I want to be known for? Fair question. You begin to determine what it is that you want to be known for, and you will find what motivates you. Dave Matson says, to get the most, Dave Matson is the CEO and president of Sandler Training. And Sandler Training we're in 30 countries. Our curriculums have been translated into 21 languages. And there's about 650 people, and that's growing, that do what I do in the organization. Dave Matson says to get the most from your organization, you need to understand why people show up for work. This is the foreword of this book, by the way. You need to understand what it is they are motivated to do, what it is they are motivated to be, what it is they are motivated to have, and what it is they are motivated to accomplish and be known for. All right, bear with me just a moment here. I realize that I did not share my computer sound, so this next slide was not going to make much sense to you without it, okay? And Austin, are we 10 minutes out right now?
I was going to say you have 5 minutes.
All right, so what we don't want to happen is we don't want to be this next guy, okay? So Austin, will they be able to hear audio if I play a video? Is that okay?
They should, yeah.
All right, so let's give it a shot.
Hi, I'm Robert Lee. I own Coleman Liquidation. I sell mobile homes. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to tell it just like it is. These are mobile homes, not mansions. They come in 2 pieces. If that's what you're looking for, that's what I got. They're used. Some of them have stains. We cover that up. She decorates them. She sells them. These guys help me move them. A bouncer in Birmingham hit me in the face with a crescent wrench 5 times. And my wife's boyfriend broke my jaw with a fence post. So if you don't buy a trailer from me, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. So come on down to Coleman Liquidation and get yourself a home. Or don't. I don't care.
It's a real place, okay? It's a real place. It is a real place. I've done the research. There's a whole series of videos about them, okay? Check it out. But let's really do consider what it is we want to do, what it is we want to be, what we want to have, what we want to accomplish, what do we want to be known for, and in the process, continue to ask those questions. Asking questions, a prudent question is 1/2 of wisdom. And some things are going to seem simple, okay? But that doesn't mean that they're easy, okay? Really focusing on growing ourselves and examining those deeper levels of motivation are going to allow us to really take our career to the next level, okay? All right, so with whatever time we have left, if you'll chat in maybe your lesson learned real quick or your question, you can put it in the form of a question. Love my dogs, right? Yeah, they're great. They smile at me even when no one else does, right? So if you'll chat in your lesson learned and maybe in the form of a question, so we can have a couple of those shared, that would be great. Austin, if you could share those with us with the short amount of time that we have left. I think we got just a few minutes. You got to smile, Megan. You just got to, you know.
I giggle a good bit. I can't get over those dogs and their awesome teeth. Dog person. Does anyone have any questions? I know I personally, I loved the step-by-step process for, you know, to be, what do you want to have, like, especially what do you want to be known for? That's a hard one, and definitely would take some digging.
Yeah,
but
I think that one, Megan, really takes, unfortunately, I think it takes some fire. I think you almost have to go through some fire in life before you can really begin to see that. And that's at least for me. But I also believe that most of the callings that we have in life are not static. They're not singular. I think that in our lives that we continue to grow and morph, and we continue to, that definition of what I want to be known for might change as time goes by as well.
I did have a question come through. Any more on working with managers with different styles and trying to sing from the same songbook?
Absolutely. We do assessments on all managers that we teach. If I give you a very, very fast, short version, as you're dealing with managers and leaders and people are either task driven or they're relationally driven. Now we have some of both, most of us, but look, as you're learning to match and mirror those that you're listening to and working with and working for or work for you, consider, are they task driven or are they more relational? Do they talk about the details, the what's and the how's and the when's? Or do they talk about the who's and the I's and the me's? If they talk about the I's and the me's, then you need to talk about the I's and the me's. If they talk about the how's and the why's and the to-do's and the when's, talk about the when's. And then if you break it down a little further, you've got those who are more reserved and then those who are more outgoing. So as we become masterful communicators in our career, and you're welcome to reach out to me and give you more information on this, we need to consider, are we dealing with someone who's task-driven or somebody who's relationally driven? Are we dealing with someone who's outgoing, or are we dealing with someone that's more reserved? Our job as the communicator, as the one who is leading, is to match and mirror without losing ourselves in the process, but to match and mirror so that we become a reflector that allows people to express themselves and to communicate better. Other thoughts, questions? That's a good question.
Anyone else? I think we have time for a couple more. All right. Well, Wade, thank you so much for these awesome nuggets. It certainly was helpful for me, and I'm sure I can speak with everybody on our presentation today. That just phenomenal presentation, and I'm gonna have to go buy M&Ms now after we get off of this. Made me hungry.
If you're interested in this book too, reach out to me. I can give you a link to my website. You can buy the book. If you want to know more about Sandler training or what we do, please just reach out to us. I'll let you come crash a class. Okay, it might be virtual right now, but I do that all the time. Austin knows this. I'll let people crash a class just to kind of see what it's like. But it's been an impactful thing in my life for a long time. Would love to share more with you. Feel free to reach out to me accordingly. When I get the list of who was connected, I will send you just an email thanking you, and you'll have my contact information there. And I'm on LinkedIn as well. Just feel free to reach out.